Thank you. Nice to see you all.
We'll see if he's going to tell us how he's going to get out of that mess he was left in the finale. So, finally, he's an actor, producer, director, and community activist. He's thrilled us in films like... Oh, God. Shoot, I did. I'm sorry. Already screwed up, and it's just barely beginning. Okay, sorry about that. Our next guest has appeared in such films as X-Men 2 and I, Robot, as well as The Chronicles of Riddick. He's on TV, he's guest starred in The Dead Zone, but we know him best as Chief Tyrrell. At the end of last season, but he seems to be coming back strong in the new season, so we'll find out what's going on with him. Aaron Douglas. Now finally, back to the actor, producer, director, and community activist. He's been in films like Blade Runner, Selena, and Stand and Deliver, for which he earned an Oscar nomination for his role as Jaime Escalante. He won an Emmy Award for playing Lieutenant Martin Castillo on that iconic 80s show Miami Vice. But of course now I'm happy to welcome him as Commander William Adama. Shockingly, one of the 12 Cylons may be permanently 86th by the Cylons themselves. So I just want to throw that just quickly to Ron and David and see if you guys want to elaborate on that.
That's the first I've ever heard of that. You know one of the Cylons?
Oh yeah, I kill them all the time.
It's true. There's a model that will be discontinued or boxed, as they say among the Cylons. And it is somebody that you know, but it won't happen at the beginning of the season. We won't get to that until fairly late in the run of the third season. We're telling a story that takes place almost entirely aboard the Cylon, one of the Cylon base ships, over the course of the first 10 episodes of season 3. And you'll get to see the inside of the Cylon base ship for the first time. We're going to explore sort of their society, how they live, what they're all about. One of our main characters will be on the Cylon base ship with them. You can probably imagine who that is. And yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's a really interesting.
A little bit then to the season finale, darling Eddie. Adama was in a pretty tough place in the finale. You guys jumping away. He'd also sort of been put out to pasture once again. It was almost a return full circle, but it looked like from the clips that we've seen that Apollo and Adama are still going to have sort of a lot of tension in their relationship. I'm just wondering if you can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, basically, I just want to say, first of all, hello to everyone. This is my first convention in my life. Maiden voyage, and I'm here to tell you that I'm not the kind of guy that's going to tell you get a life. I think people that say that...
But he's thinking it.
I think people that say stuff like that should go get their assholes checked. Only kidding, come on, joke. No, I just want to say, between me and Lee, it gets worse. I can't even begin to tell you what these guys at the other end of the table are doing to all of us. Right? they have a real loving understanding of degradation of the humankind.
Sing it, sister.
They love Cylons. I don't know what's wrong with these guys. Cylons are.
We like the good guys.
We have. All I can tell you is that what you saw at the end of the second season becomes the lighter moments of what's about to begin in the third season. I'm not joking, okay? I'm known for being very serious, and I am very serious. And I will tell you right now, this is the darkest show I've ever been a part of in my life.
Not on the Cylon ship, Eddie. Gags abound.
You're so beautiful. How come Madama never gets any Cylons?
Season 5, Eddie, season 5. I've heard it on good authority. Adama in a hot tub with, isn't it? No.
With Chief Tyrrell.
With David Icke.
Actually, I've just been...
Haven't you seen Brokeback Galactica yet?
I can't quit you.
On that note, I've just been given a note actually that says that the clip was a little weird or offy, so they're gonna re-air it. So we're gonna try again.
Why don't you just let them see the first episode?
Looks like number 6 gets a bullet to the brain at some point. You know anything about that?
Yeah, not number 6.
She was asking for
One of the versions.
Caprica 6. Yeah.
And
Yes.
There's lots of Cylons, lots of models.
Yeah, there are. There's a few models.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Lucy, you want to talk a little bit about what is life like on the Cylon ship?
Well, the other day, it's cozy.
It's strange.
Oh, how do you know?
Oh, because I'm abducted by the Cylons.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's why he sleeps in a 4-poster bed with 2 of them. Abducted.
I didn't say why I was abducted by the Cylons. I was.
James is in a glowing spine sandwich for the duration of the first part of the season.
Hence the nudity.
Hey, it's a tough job, but somebody has to do it. So yeah, I actually end up on the Cylon base ship, and
Bait ship.
and try and work out what is the philosophy, the relationships, the things that is going down on this kind of ship. And I must say that for everything that Baltar thinks that he understands, there's nearly always something that he confronts that is out of the welkin of his perspective. So he's it's like a kind of a mystery. He's constantly trying to find out.
He's a shifty little worm, this guy is Baltar.
Well,
Which is part of his appeal. But it's also that in space you've got to be really careful. You can't throw out any relationship or any bit of organic matter because all those things are very hard to come by. So he's always keeping irons in every fire.
What?
So, Lucy, with your character or your model of Cylon, what are we going to be? Can you tell us what we're going to be seeing from her this season? She's pretty tough.
No nips. There is nudity because you see, Cylons are not very personal about their bodies. They're not really uptight. They haven't attached some sort of morality to nudity and sexuality and all that stuff. And they're extremely experimental. And
Basically, they like to walk around naked, the Cylons. This is something that Baltar discovers.
it's a chagrin.
And then something that Baltar tries to mimic, but he's not as good at it, unfortunately.
And Leoman's having none of it.
Oh no, thank God.
All I can tell you is that there's a lot of visual effects involved.
Aaron, for your character,
Yes.
the chief, he in the very end of the season finale, it looks like A, he's some kind of union organizer, and B, might be becoming a father. Is that heading in the right direction?
Yes.
So
He thinks he's the father.
What do we?
The next spin-off is Callie and the Commander. You've been shown the red card.
So what is Chief going to be up to in the new season? Can you give us a hint?
Changing diapers.
The chief is fighting the Cylons, surprisingly, and fixing things. I tell you, it's just good writing.
Thank you for that stock answer. So has he gotten over his trauma from last season, or are we still going to see him kind of
And what trauma are you referring to?
when he?
When her batteries fell out and she went to sleep? Yes. Yeah, no, I make sure that Callie is plugged in at all times.
So, David.
We're not really answering anything, are we?
That's fine. You
It's
guys-
just nice to see you all. Very nice.
David and or Ron, either of you.
That is formed on New Caprica. The Galactica is off somewhere else, plotting, figuring out, struggling with the idea of how can they get back and rescue all these colonists with literally 2 Battlestars at half strength. And our characters that are on the ground in New Caprica, some have taken sides, some are caught in between.
One in particular is missing a vital part of his anatomy.
Yeah, think about that on the way home. It ain't pretty. It's a very sort of provocative and sort of dark and challenging, beginning to the tale of what happened to these people on New Caprica.
There's some great moments of hope and redemption in there too. You've got to have that counterbalance, don't you? And
Yeah, on behalf of the network, thank you, Lucy, for saying that.
you're welcome.
It's a dark show, but we strive for moments of hope as well here and there. But it is in particular the flash forward a year was when they proposed it to us. It was we thought it was shocking and ballsy and exciting, and we figured it would definitely get people's attention because you've never really seen anything like it within one scene jumping forward. So we thought it would set a lot of anticipation for season 3.
And those struggles with the darkness of their situation makes those sweet moments all the sweeter. Real triumph moments, particularly for Adama, of course, and the whole crew when they pull it together and get through some really hideous post-apocalyptic challenges. You feel all proud for them. When you're watching, you just feel proud. Good on the humans. You're lovely little people.
I don't want to get too diverted, but I know that you, Ron, and David are working on a spin-off called Caprica, right?
Yeah, well, right now it's just a script that we just submitted to the network, and we're awaiting our orders. But we're working with a great writer named Rami Abushan, who is really came to us actually with a lot of this sort of thought out. Ron and I have been thinking about a way to explore the mythos sort of in a reverse engineered way, which is to go back before these stories and investigate what happened on the planet that may have led to some of these conditions that leads to the attack. And so Rami had an idea that was very close to that, and so we've been working with him. But it's been great because by having this third partner, it's allowed Ron and I to stay very focused on Galactica, and Rami sort of taking the lead right now with Caprica.
So your attention isn't going to be diverted from my show?
No.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Your baby, isn't it?
Eddie, darling, the Battlestar does a really good job of blending sort of almost current events or ideas, political ideas that are so sort of apt to our world today. And it's very politically aware. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about some of the things we might see the show approaching in the coming season.
I think that what Ron and David and the writers have done has been monumental. This show, the reason I got involved with it was because of that single aesthetic. Ron, David, myself, Michael Reimer, we sat and we were talking with each other when the show was being, and they asked me to be a part of the show. And I really had a hard time being on Battlestar Galactica. After, I was doing things that really needed my time. And so we started to talk, and the way that Ron had initially introduced me to the project was incredible. And his writing was superb. Darkest show I've ever been a part of. And I say that with love, because basically it makes you think. It's entertaining, it stays with that same entertainment factor. You go visit this world and this, these people, and you've grown to, if nothing else, at least understand what they're going through. Some people even appreciate them. But in essence, you're going to really get yourself confused, because the way that they've structured the understanding between the human beings and what we call the Cylons, or these technology that we created ourselves, and how it comes back to haunt us, is monumental. And so you get to see things that are happening right now. For instance, and this is laying the cat out of the bag, but you'll get the psychology of say, suicide bombers, when you start to see the human beings using that method to move forward and trying to fight to their very end of what they believe in, and why they're using this philosophy and this theory of killing themselves to take out, 5 androids, Cylons. And so it becomes a really incredibly dark and incredible journey as we step into this world for the 3rd season, much more so than any season that we've had of the 2 seasons and the pilot. So I got to tell you, this year, please don't watch it.
That's our new actor.
Entirely.
Just don't watch.
Don't let kids watch it. You don't watch it.
Just save yourself.
Better to watch CNN. Okay? We love you too.
Well, on that note, I have many, many more questions, but I think it's time to actually open it up to all of you guys. So if you have questions for any of our panelists, I think there are microphones around, and have at them.
We have a microphone located in the center aisle, so go ahead and form a line.
Gracias. All right, is it on? Yeah, okay. Hi guys, firstly, just gotta say that the season 3 teaser just blows my mind every time I watch it, and I cannot be more excited for the coming season. And my question is...
Are you wearing BDUs right now?
Yes, she is.
Hey, you look great. You look great.
Make that?
Yeah. So my question's for all of you, and I want to ask, what is your favorite character or character arc that does not involve your own character?
That's a good question. Good question.
In the series that you've already seen?
I'd say in either, but yeah.
Careful, careful. No cheating.
Oh, I know. Oh, can I say? I'll tell you. You're not gossip me.
James, you do know that there are other characters on the show, right?
There's this really delicious thing coming up where Ty and Starbuck, you know what a great relationship they have? They kind of start to hit it off in a very weird way. And there is this scene that was written by Mark Hyde, right in his script. I know it was his script. Yeah, it was great. Anyway, there is this scene in audio that is so damn delicious where Adama nails them. There's this. Am I giving away too much? Oh, get out of the potty. We're not on the Cylon ship. Anyway, there's this thing coming up. It's so beautiful, and when I read it, I just laughed out loud every time those three get in the same room. It's fantastic information.
She likes me. Now, I would have to say that the relationships this year are so deeply rooted in hurting each other.
No.
I gotta tell you, I'm not kidding you. I mean, I think that the most stunning part of the relationship, I think, is Lee, my son, who has a tremendous relationship.
Belly.
Going on with Duella and Starbuck, that is really out of page 6 in New York. You'll enjoy it.
There are a lot of couples at the beginning of the season. I'm hearing.
A lot of people leave us too. We'll be very saddened by that.
Come back, Aaron.
It took for the team.
Not him.
Things get very intense because it's kind of like Stockholm syndrome. You know, they're all kind of held hostage. So relationships start to splinter and reform in very unlikely and very charged ways.
Yeah, I think the one that I'm enjoying at the moment is the relationship between Sharon and Hilo, because it's so extraordinary, and she's a Cylon, but she's kind of caught aboard this ship. It's like the last thing that you want to be, and they've had their baby taken away from them, and they have a kind of tragic, amazing arc, things that they get to, and the drastic circumstances that they're put under. And they're totally alone as a unit. She can't really, it's only themselves who they can kind of vaguely trust. So that's a very exciting element. Another one in the story.
I don't read the scripts and they don't let me watch dailies.
Next question. Thank you very much.
This question is for James. In the season 2 episode Downloaded, you guys would sort of be what 6 was to you. And I was just wondering what that was like, if you took any sort of cues from the way that she acted in her scene.
We had to, it's a good question, and we had to do it slightly differently, essentially because I am not Trisha.
No, you're not.
Thanks, Aaron. But Trisha could kind of like sidle around the side of a wall or furniture, and she'd like be there in the shot. And occasionally, when we were filming Downloaded in the rubble sequence near the car.
The character I find most compelling on this show is Gaius, largely because of his moral ambiguity, and I think particularly in the first season and the first half of the second season, that's a really powerful arc. And in the second half of the second season, we see him more pigeonholed into the darker side of the good-evil dialectic. And I'm wondering if in season 3, we're going to see a return of that ambiguity at all.
The thing was, and a lot of people have asked me this about like Gaius' demise at the end of the second season. His lover, who he really loved, has like killed herself with the nuclear weapon that he not so cleverly gave to her, I can say, in a fit of pique. But it was like there was the booze, the alcohol, the kind of, as it were, degenerating, was kind of like
Ron also
If you feel that with the representation of Geminon, if there leads into a bit of the media stereotype of the spiritual or the magical Negro, as some people have called it.
I think that's a fair question. I think that the honest answer is that's just sort of an unfortunate slip of casting that we sort of happen to slip a couple of African, I don't even know if they're African American or African Canadian, but black performers into those roles, and then those roles tended to, as we were developing Geminon as a culture, we wanted Geminon as a colony to sort of represent a more quote-unquote fundamentalist viewpoint and spiritual viewpoint. It wasn't really until later that we were kind of looking at film, and we sort of had the same sort of moment that you're describing in the editing bay, going, wow, what are we really saying about Geminon? It really wasn't something that we intended, and I think
she was the best actress for the role.
Yeah, and I think that's not really the message of what the show is trying to say, and it wasn't meant to say that everyone on Geminon is black and that they all have...
Or vice versa. I mean, when you guys see what Carl Lumley does to Eddie in episode 7, you'll know that African-American performers do all sorts of things on our show.
And we have an African-American Simon, right? Have they met Simon yet? Yeah, right, you know Simon, yeah. What?
Thank you.
Was it stupid?
Okay, we have time for just a couple more questions.
Hi, my question's sort of along the lines of the last one, but I wanted to first thank Edward James Olmos for the project you did last spring. The walkout movie that was on the humans, but then the big issue is between the Cylons and the humans. So could anybody comment on whether that was intentional or more of that's going to come out?
Male-female thing.
It is intentional. I mean, it's one of the things as we were developing the culture in general, you know, what are the 12 colonies and what are they about? There were a couple of things that I wanted to play metaphorically and not directly. You know, one was gender roles. You know, we have women pilots, women president, and we treat the sexes very equally in the universe, and there's no even comment that it's unusual for the woman to be president or the fighter pilot. It's just not even an issue.
Some of you may know Starbuck is a woman in our
yes. And the same thing with the races. It was just an early decision, okay, let's not play that aspect of it, but let's deal with racism in the show in terms of the Cylons, as in terms of the other, as in terms of, you know, the humans view themselves as the only true people, the only true people that have souls, and that the Cylons are that other thing, that other being that we will never, ever acknowledge are as good as us. That we haven't had in the past. They're going to make some breakthroughs in some relationships. There's going to be some pairings that I think you've been waiting to see if are those two ever going to get together? Are those two ever going to really say what they mean to each other? And the answer to that is yes. But it ain't going to be that simple, because nothing's that simple in Battlestar Galactica. And the show's all about the characters, and I think this season you're going to see that we really took a lot of chances with the characters. They went in a lot of unexpected directions, and I think it's going to be an interesting and fulfilling ride for all of you.
Yeah, but don't let that comment about not everyone, you know, that we're going to be losing some people worry. I mean, virtually everybody here makes it, so it's not more or less.
That was an interesting comment, though, about creator and creation. They delve into some really big philosophical themes that are, I think, interesting more and more people at this time about the way civilization is at the moment. I think it's a really fascinating exploration. Yeah, so more to come on that theme.
I've been told we have time for actually just one more, and then that is going to be the final question.
Go on, big guy.
They've all
Run for it.
Well,
go on.
Push her out of the way.
Oh, for crying out loud. Don't push her. Your mother wasn't. Sorry. It's a quick expression from the old country, I guess. Pull back into the subject.
There's been a lot of comments about how dark the show is, and I commend you, because I think it seems it's the most intelligent show, I think, on television. Really advanced the notion of what television can do. And I just wanted to throw it out to the whole panel. You know, it seems like the flaws or the moral ambiguity in almost all the characters. I mean, the president wants to kill a baby. You know, the commander of a ship wants to torture somebody. I mean, it reflects a lot of what's happening, that darkness is happening in our world today. I'm wondering, and if you could whoever wants to answer this, if you can answer what the most interesting flaw or moral ambiguity in your character or another character is, something you want to follow and see fulfilled.
Aaron?
The chief is flawless.
Let me just toot the horn here. I don't know if you people know this. Some of you, I'm sure, know it. But the writers and the show, the production itself, was given probably, to go along with what you're saying, the highest acclamation that a show could get for the usage of electronic media. We received the George Foster Peabody Award, which is strikingly, you can't vie for this award. It's like winning the Pulitzer. They look at the work that's being done on television throughout the world, and then they pick a very intellectually advanced group of people, decide, a Blue Ribbon Committee, decide who is using television and media, the electronic medium, to the best of the ability of the medium. And we received that acclamation this year, and it shocked all of us. I mean, we were all stunned by it, and we were very grateful for it. But I think that the fact that what the writers, and Ron, especially, and David, have been able to create, and the darkness comes from the realities. You hit it right on the head. The reality of what we're touching is something that we know very well. And it makes you rethink your own sense of what it is. Because somebody just said, the good and evil. I dare somebody to tell me who the good guys and the bad guys are in this show. Because as you start to get into it deeper and deeper, you start to realize that the Cylons are much more cohesive in understanding their experience and what they're trying to get out of their experience than the humans. Like we say, we end up, I'll just put it to you this way, in the show this year, we are going to touch the issue that is most affecting the planet, which is the pandemic. The pandemic, which is coming, and you all know it's coming, and yet nobody really is preparing for it. The pandemic of the bird flu. And a lot of people say, until it hits you, like it hit in 1918 and took out, 40 million of us, you don't really get it. And in this case, we use it the same way that the English used it against the indigenous people here in the United States of America. And we use it, the human beings use it against the Cylons. And we spread a pandemic amongst them, and it's incredibly difficult to take, the psychology of it. It's just incredible. And then you realize that what else are they going to do? I mean, there's nothing left. There's only, I'll put it to you this way, at the last count, we were less than 38,000 people left, human beings. And so you'll have to figure out how we got from 49,000 at the end of the second season to now this new number that you're looking at now, 38,000, and we're losing fast.
Something to think about.
Just to think about it, but thank you for the question again, man.